Hello there, my name is Chisel, and welcome back to Building with Bits. This week we're going to recreate in as much detail as possible the Skeld map from the ever-increasingly popular game Among Us. Beginning in a completely empty world, we build out an initial template with concrete blocks so we can work out all of the proportions before we start doing anything a bit more permanent. Now, I knew from the off this project was going to be on a whole nother level from pretty much anything that I'd done before. This map was a monster of a project, but I think in the end, the result is well worth it. So here you can see me slowly piece together the cafeteria, starting with the floor design, framing out the massive side windows and connecting up the walls. All sounds pretty simple so far, but to be honest, I really wasn't sure how to approach a build like this. I mean, usually I'm focused on making the outside design of my building look awesome, and well, this build really turns things outside in. But anyway, after finishing up the walls, we get to work on the big circular tables in the center, using the cylinder tool on our chisel to make sure we get as close to a perfect circle as we can. I draw out one for the top and a bigger one underneath for the seats. Rounding them off with slices, I then copy and paste it over, filling in the other 4 tables. Now, while we're here, I figured I'd get the emergency button built too. You can even open it. God, I love this mod. Covering the outside in black and lining the rim with white for every room should help keep things looking clean, especially when viewing from the top down. Then to finish off the canteen, we add in the necessary tasks at the top wall like garbage and wires. I will mention though, all vents and chairs will be done at the end just to streamline the process a little bit for me. So don't worry if it looks like I'm missing anything, it will be included at the end of the build. Coming out to the left, we have the first corridor connecting up the cafeteria, med bay, and the upper engine room. Finishing that off with a set of double doors, and I do take some creative liberties with the fact that there's windows, but I like how they look. And hey, if anyone wants to actually do the logic for this map and get it working, I will happily redesign the doors for you. So yeah, hit me up. Next up, we start work on the med bay. You may be surprised to know quite a lot of this build is actually just white concrete, since you can manually change the color of any block you place using the little tiles RGB sliders, which is just awesome by the way. I can make everything at least somewhat accurate to how it actually should look in Among Us. And we still use a few other textures like wool for the beds and a few other bits and bobs here and there. Although, with all that said, we are very much inside Minecraft when it comes to circles. As you probably well know, nothing is ever that easy, and there's a whole lot of stuff going on in this room, especially with that massive engine. Jeez, completing this room was so rewarding. Seeing it all come together at the end, it's just, the whole thing gave me so much inspiration. In the very same session, I built up the connecting hallway, this one having a different pattern to pretty much all the others. It also displays the rooms in writing on the floor outside, which is pretty cool. And then to top it off, I finished the bottom engine room too. Fortunately, here I could copy and paste a fair amount of the assets over from the top room. I did change a few things up with the walls and positions of the tiles, but it definitely made the whole process much quicker for sure. Now, to finish off the last of the connections off of the central corridor, we start on the security room. I really love how these machines look too. I'm not actually entirely sure what they're meant to be. They almost look like server racks maybe, but yeah, so many buttons. Then we move on to the reactor room, probably one of the more difficult ones for me to get right. You know, with the giant circular reactor in the middle. I mean, seriously, why has everything got to be a circle? This room alone, I'd say it took me about 2 hours and 20 minutes of constant building to complete. But with the nice purple colors and just the whole aesthetic that's going on here, it has to be one of my favorite rooms yet. Moving down to the bottom side of the ship now, we build up the connecting walkway between the lower engine room and the storage room, even including the little details like the writing on the wall. Then, hopping over to electrical, we install the appliances, wiring it all up seemingly without a care in the world. 1 out of 10 for cable management from me. In all seriousness, these wires are a classic case of a small idea having a big impact. This aesthetic is something I definitely like to incorporate in my own designs moving forward. Right next door we have the storage, and for one of the bigger rooms it was surprisingly straightforward to build, but I suppose that helps when most of what I actually had to build are just boxes. You know, it is Minecraft after all. At this point, I'd spent just over 15 hours building this project so far, and while it was amazing to see what I'd accomplished, I really felt like I needed to streamline the process a bit more. So, since these hallways all use the same block and color palette, I figured doing the rest all in one go, while I already had everything on my hotbar, would probably be a good idea. This also means I don't have to worry about repeating more hallways in the future. I can just focus the rest of my attention on the rooms themselves. And on that note, for the first of our last rooms, we have communications. I really like the diagonally striped floor here. It definitely breaks up the blockiness, and with all the necessary electronics, desk screens, and obviously the required tasks, I think it comes together pretty well. Sliding back up to admin, we have to step down the floor for the center table, similar to how we did in the reactor room, then framing out the tables and the screens over the top, even adding in all the little details for the card swipe task too. I then build up the 3 large screens you see on the back alongside the O2 reset switch, and yeah, don't worry, we'll be coming back to do the chairs at the end, as I said. Yeah, up and to the right a bit, the oxygen room has a bit of a different floor design. It looks like some sort of algae-filled water tanks or something, which pretty much cover the top and bottom area of the floor. Above that, we have a glass enclosure for a little mini tree, and then the 3 machines on the left, which I assume is some sort of purification system. I have no idea, to be fair, but what I do know is this weapons room took me a lot of time to finish up, especially building that diagonal pipe in the center, which was made all the more worse by the fact that I knew I was just going to cover it straight up. But if you're going to do something, you might as well do it properly. And I'm glad I did, because the end result really just speaks for itself. And sliding back down, and luckily for us, while different in many obvious ways, the shield room also bears many similarities to that weapons room. Mainly color palette and the fact that both have a raised walkway, and even the mirror shape of the room meant I could actually use assets from the top again to help at least speed along the design of the bottom room. Although, as you can see, much more customized than the engine room we practically copied over before. Final room and penultimate stage of this project, navigation. So for now, don't forget to drop a like. I'll be setting a goal of 100 likes on this video, so hopefully you guys will smash that just like you did the last one. And with everything finally finished up, let's take a little look around. So yeah, there it is. If you want to take a proper look around, don't forget to smash that like button so we can hit that goal and make the post on my Patreon public. Alternatively, you can also support me on Patreon if you would like to get instant access to all of my Building with Bits maps as soon as they go live. So thank you so much for watching until the end, and as always, have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.